right, folks, and welcome to the Sunday morning Samoflange. I'm Matt. There's no one else here. It's just me. So here's the deal. First off, this week, last week, the air conditioning is off. It's out. It doesn't work anymore. So I don't want anyone to come over. I may have to do Prince of the Universe, of course, by myself for a few weeks. We're trying to hold off on that. But the window's closing in, and the deadline's done for Saturday morning Samoflange. I wanted to have Benjamin here before he's not going to be on the podcast this month, I don't think. He's more than welcome to join. But the thing is, though, he's about to start directing his very first dinner theater on his own. So this week we were supposed to get together right before the dinner theater practices started and record a bunch of them. But unfortunately, my AC broke, and I'm not going to ask anyone to come up here and suffer with me upstairs in the hot room. We do have fans in the other room, so it's decent, all right, and it's actually been kind of cool in the evenings, which has been very fortunate. What happened is, well, according to this podcast, what would it be like 2 weeks ago? I had some people over for board game night, and man, it was getting warm in the room, and I had the AC down, and I was like, what is wrong with the vent? Is it not working? What's going on? And then sometimes my wife turns the AC on fan because it keeps running if it's on fan, which of course runs up the energy bill. But she thought it meant that it keeps the cool air going, and it doesn't. And she's done this several times over the past few months. She'll flip it on fan thinking that'll make it cooler, and it doesn't. And I'll be like, why is it still running in the middle of the night? And I'll go check it. She has it on fan. And I keep telling her that, but she didn't believe me. She keeps putting it on. So I thought she just had it on fan, and it was just really hot. But when I turned it to cool, it just wasn't cooling down. I was like, oh, my goodness. And I felt really bad. The couple who was over there didn't say anything. They should have. I felt bad. And then the next night, I noticed it because I was having people over for my birthday, and I noticed it. I was like, whoa, it's still warm. And so I moved the board game group upstairs because the one upstairs was still working a little bit. And even though it was getting a little warm too, it was a little bit cooler. And then that one stopped. So I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here with my AC units? So I tried a few things, flipped out what are they? Replace the, goodness gracious, I can't think what the names of them are. The filters, because I hadn't done that in a year. And you're supposed to do that, so I didn't do that. I got a new thermostat because my old one, it's one from 1987. It's old, so it had to go. Sometimes in the past it has been the thermostat. It's just too old to realize what the temperature is. This one was none of the above, actually. This was a big issue, and I knew it was because when I thought about it, I was like, okay, it doesn't have any cool air coming through, which means it's like the compressor or whatnot. The moron came over to look at it. I was told he has so much excellent experience. He's going to be really good. He can fix it. 90% of issues he can fix. Well, I happen to fall in the big 10%. I don't believe this doofus knew how to fix anything. I really don't. Seemed like a nice guy, but, stumbled over his words, was really nervous the whole time. My wife was wondering what was wrong with him. I was like, I don't think he's done this before. I think he's brand new. I really think the guy was brand new. I really believe that. And because he just didn't know the issue. And the first thing it says, oh, you're just low on coolant. It'll be $1,100. Like it was nothing. $1,100. Like, well, geez, okay, fine, fill it up. He goes, oh, but you have a leak. Okay, well, then I know it's going to be that compressor. Well, we don't know that. Could be just an easy leak. If so, it'll be $200 to fix it. But if it's the compressor, yeah, it'll be a little bit extra. And then he comes back, yeah, it's your compressor, it's out, and you got to get the copper wiring, everything replaced. So you're looking at $2,400. And I was like, oh, geez, okay, $2,400. And then he went upstairs, oh, hey, man, it's going to be $2,800. Your fan blade or some kind of upstairs. He says, really dusty. It needs to be cleaned, needs to be taken apart and cleaned. I would definitely suggest that. I was like, okay, all right, no more bad news, go. And then, of course, he said, oh, I got bad news. Your evaporator's out, too. And it's on the other side of the AC unit. I don't know what I'm talking about here. This is what he said. So on the other side of the AC unit, it's going to take forever. You got air duct stuff surrounding it, so we got to redo the air ducts, too. And I can't do that. It's going to be some special guy come in and do this. And it's going to be $4,000. What? $4,000? Yeah, because they don't make my brand AC unit anymore. I said, Are you sure? I said, because that AC unit looks pretty new to me. He went, oh, no, sir. It's at least 15 years old. I went, there's no way on God's green earth that AC unit that's sitting outside is 15 years old. I told him. I didn't say it like that, but I said, hey, look, man, it's impossible. That's impossible. It looks like it's brand new or 5 years old. Yeah, I said 5 to 7 years old. I said, can you look at it? He said, I'll look at it. He goes, oh, so we went out there, because I went out there too, because I wanted to see it. And no, it was 9.5 years old. And he rounded up and said, oh, it's 10 years old. He went, 10 years old? They already discontinued it. Yeah, they already discontinued it at 10 years old. Now, it is true. I did look it up. They did discontinue it because it does have it had a faulty design or whatnot. And he said he can refix it. But then, of course, that would cost an extra $600. Of course it would. Then we get to $5,000. But, so we're at $5,000 now. And I was like, oh my God. And he's like, okay, hey, you know what we can do? We can give you this for, you subscribe to they have and this thing, my dad pays for it at the beach. It's $120 my dad pays. And they clean out the AC unit, put a new filter in it, check it, make sure everything's ready to go. And that's all, for two times out of the year, $120. Yeah, for this crew, it's $400 to do the same thing. Plus you get, priority, whatever, they'll try to bump you up first in the call line if ever you have an issue, and they waive any service call fees, the $89 for service. And so it knocked my bill down by $400 because the whole check for a leak, which is $160 regularly, it's free. $90 just to come visit you. That's free now. And then a few other frivolous charges that they charge you just for showing up are now free now. And so I was like, oh, okay, whatever. I will cancel this the moment my second one. So I'll get one in the fall and then a check in the spring, and then I will call and cancel the subscription. I thought, well, I'm paying $5,000. I'm paying $4,600 if I buy the subscription. So I'll buy the subscription. It's overpriced, not worth it because these guys are morons. They're all morons. He didn't have anything in his truck. Anything. He didn't have coolant in his truck. And then he didn't have something else he needed to do the job. Oh, to check the leak, he didn't have the equipment. I said, I thought you had because he was bragging that he had a fully serviced car. He went, yes, sir, but I let someone borrow mine the other day and never gave it back. Like, I think this doofus was brand new. I really do. I think he just had no clue. He was on the phone with someone the whole time, talking to him about, the unit and whatnot. He just didn't know. I got the new guy. Hopefully he was wrong on some of the charges. I don't think he is, though. I kind of knew I had to eat it because it sounds like this is a big issue. And this is a pretty big house, so the unit is pretty huge. I will say it's pretty huge. And anyway, so that's going to take over. This is our week 2. We're still waiting for pieces to come in. Pieces should come in by Tuesday night, maybe, I don't know, Tuesday. But he says starting Wednesday and going on because it's going to be a 1 or 2 day job, he said. This guy's an idiot. Maybe just 30 minutes. I don't know. But he said it's going to be a 2 day job. So it looks like end of this month. So by the time this comes out, hopefully I'll have AC. But I can't wait for that. And Fridays are no good for me to record most times. So here I am recording. Boy, that was a long conversation. But that's okay because my top 5 will be short because it's me going solo. It's kind of hard to do for 30 minutes. But so anyway, Benjamin was very excited about this opportunity to direct his own show. I would have loved to have been a part of it. He had invited me to be a part of it. I wanted to in a heartbeat, but my wife does all the theater now, and she eats up all the time, and someone's got to watch the kids, right? Someone's going to be the adult. So I'm the adult. I stay at home, watch 4 kids, 4 days out of the week, 5 days out of the week, and then most of the days Saturdays. So anyway, yeah, but that's I'm really happy for him. Maybe we'll get him in here after it's all over to talk about what it's like to be a director for the first time. I know for me, I wasn't intimidated. I knew exactly what I wanted. As a director, thankfully, I have a good name. A lot of people who do not usually do shows will come out of retirement or come out of the woodwork for me. Maybe that's just my relationship, maybe not my directing skills. But I always start on time. I respect people's time. I ask them to respect other people. I ask them to get their, lines memorized so we can start having fun. We have a lot of fun. We don't take too long. I know exactly what I need and exactly the time. Everything is planned out. A great director that I once worked with taught me how to plan out these rehearsals. I never do weekends, which makes everyone super happy. But in return, they've got to memorize their script. That's what I says. Hey, we're not going to do Friday nights and Saturdays. Everyone does Friday nights and Saturdays because they're off. And they think, oh, we'll just take up your... Now, I know performances have to be done on weekends, but practice, in my mind, it shouldn't. Yes, it's very convenient on a Saturday to come in and practice. And people make them do that. Other directors do. I do not. You will never work a weekend for practice reasons when you're with me, because I require everyone to know their lines. And if they don't know their line, I'll cut them. That's only happened once. Someone, I think I've told the story before, someone committed suicide in our cast. And it was so weird because the day before he'd left me a message saying he just got back from vacation. He can't wait to jump back in and join us. Well, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, dude didn't come in. And I kept calling him. I was like, dude... Because I said, I don't care. Mike, it was his name. I said, Mike, where are you, dude? Did you forget? And I thought, he probably forgot. He probably had jet lag. He was coming in that day. And so he probably just got in late, or maybe his flight got delayed. I'll hear about Tuesday. Tuesday when it damn, I called and said, hey, Mike, give me a call. This is 2 practices you missed. You told me you'd be here Monday. I said, I really need you here. I'm going to have to look at other options. I was getting kind of perturbed. And on Wednesday, when he didn't show, I said, hey, man, call me or I'm making a switch. I said, call me or make it. I said, I think this is a little disrespectful to the cast here, that you're not even calling back. If something happened, please let me know, and that's cool. But I said, dude, you got to tell me something. And I remember I was working out, and I called the boss who ran the dinner theater at the time. I said, hey, Mike better be dead. That's the only excuse I'm accepting. Now, bad timing on that joke, because right after that my phone rang, and I heard that he had committed suicide Sunday night. No, it was Monday night, or Monday day. I can't remember. He had committed suicide that day. And I was like, what? And I couldn't believe it. I remember I sat down, I was on the treadmill, and I just kind of got off the treadmill and said, wait, what? I mean, just yelled it out really loud. I went, he's what? And I was like, he's dead, committed suicide. And I just kind of sat there on the floor because I didn't understand what was going on. I was like, why would, and I kept thinking, why would he commit suicide? He was so happy Sunday night. And Monday he created, and so I called the boss again and said, hey, guess what? He's dead. He committed suicide. I don't know. So I went to the funeral. I told the cast, we went to the funeral because the funeral was the next day or whatever. And this one guy really wanted to go, in our cast, really wanted to go to Vegas. He goes, man, I want to go to Vegas this weekend. Can I go to Vegas? I said, no. I can't remember what that guy's name was anymore. But I said, look, man, no. I said, that was it. I said, because we're going to have to do a Friday night. And Saturday, we're going to have to do a Friday night practice because I've already got someone new. I already got someone to, sub in for him. I said, but I'm sorry. And, usually I say no weekends. I said, but we've got to, because it was just a few weeks before the show. I said, we've got to work on this over the weekend. So I'm going to have to ask you Friday, Saturday, but please do that. Please be respectful because this other person is coming in with 2 weeks left to go. And they've agreed to learn the lines and learn everything. So we have to start all over again. So we need to give this person as much practice as we can. So I'm going to ask y'all come in for Friday night and a little bit Saturday. And he was like, well, just kind of moaning. I really want to go Las Vegas. I think we should just wait. And I don't mind staying late Monday through next week. I said, dude, no, we're not. We're not doing that. You didn't have it off. They have to tell me what times they want off. I said, you didn't have it on one of your conflict schedules. You can't get off. And so finally he goes, oh, okay. Well, then he leaves anyway. He says that his mom decided to get married in Vegas. And that's why he had to go. He didn't know his mom was getting married. His mom just wanted him to come, he said. But then someone showed me social media. His mom wasn't at Vegas. Not in any of the posts he was making. His friends were. But his mom, sure, and no mention of his mom getting married was on Facebook, his Facebook page. But that was his excuse because his mom said, hey, you got to come to Phoenix because I'm getting married. What, at a drive-through chapel with Elvis? Not knocking it. I know a friend of mine at work who did it, and knowing his personality, of course he would. But I'm just saying, no, that was a lie, and I cut him immediately. That was the one guy I cut. Oh, by the way, so why the guy commit suicide? We didn't know. Of course, we didn't ask at the funeral because that's kind of rude. Like, why did he kill himself? That'd have been great. After the pastor says, anyone want to get up and say something? Yeah, why did he kill himself? That's right. Just said, yikes. But what happened is he came home from vacation and he walked into work that day and was escorted out. He was greeted by security, told to box up his stuff and get out. They found an accounting error. He was stealing from his company. He was embezzling hundreds of thousands of dollars from them. And as all thieves do, he started, when they didn't notice, thousands of dollars missing, he started stealing tens of thousands of dollars. He got bolder and stupider as a thief. And so they finally found an error, and he had stolen, it was six figure. It was $100,000 or $200,000, 200 something. So almost $250,000 he'd stolen from his company. And they escorted him from it. Of course, they were going to press charges and everything later. And he decided, nope, I don't want to ruin my good name in town. So he killed himself, and hopefully, respectfully, that would keep quiet. Of course, those things never keep quiet. And oh my goodness, what a tragedy, though. I mean, a tragedy because he was a fun guy, but I mean, sorry, you should have done your time and I'm sorry, lived with it. Live with the consequences, man. Live with the consequences. Anyway, boy, that was a downer. You know what else is a downer? A terrible vacation. How's that for a transition? Yeah, terrible. Top 5 worst vacations. I said I'd do this on the last podcast, and I talked to Benjamin about it. We were so excited, and of course, he was supposed to be here. Now he can't. My fault this week, and then of course, he'll be busy after this. But so I'll talk about the top 5 worst vacations for me. Spoilers here. 3 of them are me being sick. All right. So let's go ahead and do this. The most recent one, me being sick at the beach. This happened, and actually there's video footage of me, folks, when I was doing my Defending the EDU. It was called All Guns Blazing Parts 1 and 2. Or maybe it was just part 2. I can't remember. But I was done. I was kind of wrapping up all my Defending the EU videos because I hate repeating myself. I hate repeating myself. You know how people just repeat themselves in one video after another because, hey, this video got a lot of hits or got a lot of, got people mad and everything. Well, I'm going to say the same things again in another stream. Well, no, dude, change it. Say something new. Come to the table with something new. You've already said that before. Don't say it again. I don't like repeating myself. So I said, what? I have tons of EU quotes defending the EU, but am I going to make 27 more videos just highlighting each quote? Because I've been highlighting my favorite quotes, and there are some other quotes too, but I was like, I don't feel that because I'm giving the same message. I'm just saying the same thing. Sure, I got a billion quotes. I'm like, okay, why don't I do All Guns Blazing? Well, then, as I was going through the video, I decided to add way too many quotes for one video. Plus, I don't like my videos being that long. I hate long videos. I'll reread. I make an exception. But I hate long videos. I want short videos because that's just me. I like short videos. And so I cut the video short and did a part 2. And I think it was either part 1 or part 2 or both, is me dead sick. And I'm saying, I'm not feeling well. I'm on vacation. I think I said that and said, but screw it. It's video time, so I have to get this video out. I was doing videos like once a week. Like I didn't pre-record back then. And I was like, so here we go. And I just felt like garbage. But I did the video because I always did a video every week. That was me, dedicated. But that whole week, I was sick. And that was the whole year. I remember every time I went on vacation or took time off, I was sick. I was sick over Christmas holiday. I need to find out what year this was. 2017? 2015, it was sometime after Disney had bought Star Wars and got rid of the EU. It was sometime during that early time, so maybe 2015, 2016. But whatever year that was, I should have looked it up. But every year, every vacation I took that year, I was sick. I went to the doctor afterwards, like after Christmas. I got better the day before when I was going to go back to work that Monday. That Sunday evening, I was feeling better. I was like, you're kidding me. You're kidding me. So New Year's Day, or the day after, I came back to work. I got a doctor's appointment. I said, hey, something's wrong with me. I said, every time I go on vacation, I get sick. And I said, I feel dog sick. And I'm healthy again when I'm at work. What is the deal? And he goes, well, and honestly, I'm not like, what's the guy, Invincible. Like Bruce Willis in Invincible. I never used a sick day until last year. And I use the sick days not for sick days. I use them for something else. I had to have some personal time off to deal with external family matter. Nothing serious. Well, it was serious at the time, but everyone's good now. But at the time, we were afraid that we were losing someone in the family, and so I wanted to take some extra time off. And to take that extra time off, I just used my sick leave for the first time in 14 years. I use my sick leave. I'm not going to use it unless I'm sick. I'm just not. I am kind of a workaholic in a little ways. I like to have fun at work, but I do work a lot. Anyway, that being said, I was always getting sick, so it was frustrating me because every vacation that year had been ruined. And he told me sometimes your body just is on the go. So when you finally let loose and get to relax, that's when your body kind of breaks down and goes, ugh. And he said that's probably what was going on with me that particular year, So, but still, I get sick over the weekends. That's when I get the stomach bug. That's when I get the flu. That's when it's over the weekend. It's coming down Friday, and by Sunday night, I'm fine. Monday morning, I'm ready to go back to work. I'm like, dang. And there's even been times I thought, I'm going to call in sick. In fact, I did try to call in sick one Monday, and my boss did not answer her phone. So I thought, well, I'm going to go in. So I went in, and then later on that morning, I felt fine. So I would have been pissed at myself. I'd have called in sick and then would have had nothing to do because I get bored doing nothing at home. Probably would have done some cleaning, in fact. But either way, though, I hate being sick. So being sick at the beach was no fun. My wife was pissed at me. She thought, I don't know that I'd done it on purpose, that I'd gotten sick on purpose. And she was just mad, just stopping. Do you want to go out to eat tonight? I said, Bub, I'm sorry, but I'm throwing up all the time. You hear me throwing. I just threw, not throwing up. I wasn't throwing up, but because I didn't throw up for a while. I have an iron stomach too, but I was sick, and I was like, look, I'm not faking it here. I'm sweating. You hear me. I'm sniffling. I'm blowing my nose. I said, look, I don't feel like doing anything. I'm sorry. And she just gets so mad every night, like I was faking it. And I'd be in my room the entire time, just about trying to sleep, just, blowing my nose, and just felt awful. The whole week I felt awful. And she just got more and more mad. Okay, I didn't go out and do anything with them, but that was just a terrible time. That whole year, I guess, I should put down as number 5. Number 4, being sick again, was when I was 16 years old. This is the second to the last time I threw up. And do you keep up with your throw-ups, Matt? Yes, I threw up in March of 2019. It was the first time in a long, and I could have kept it in, but I knew if I threw up real quick, because I knew what was going on. I ate some bad popcorn at the theater, and I felt it immediately, and I felt sick, and I was like, oh man, and I felt like I had to throw up, but I didn't want to. But I had to get up in the morning because I had to get some sleep and go to work. And I said, if I throw up, I know I'll be fine, because that's all it is. Just if I get that out, I'll go back to sleep, I'll wake up tomorrow, I'll feel great. And so I was like, dang it. So I went, because I was stubborn. I didn't want to keep, let me see, well, how old was I then? In 2019, I can't remember. About, it had been 20-something years since I'd thrown up. You're thinking, why, Matt? Why would you? Because one of the worst times I was ever sick was at the beach when I was 16 years old. And we all got a stomach bug, and it was just constant vomit. I mean, I hate to be descriptive there, but yeah, vomit city everywhere. And I was like, oh my God. I said, if I did, and I remember praying, I said, I swear I will never. And I remember exactly where I was when I told my cousin and my brothers, went, after this week, I swear I will never vomit again. They started laughing. I said, no, I'm going to will my stomach not to do this again. I was pissed. I just always, everything was getting thrown up. And until I was, what would it be, 44? I think 43, until I was 43. So whatever that time is in between, 20-something years. Yeah, 24, 25, 26 years. I never threw up. Always held it in, and then got over it. My stomach got over it, but I never threw up. And then I looked at my wife. I remember, because we were about to have them kids a month later. I said, you know what? I'm just going to throw up. She went, what? I went, I feel like I got to throw up. She went, well, do it. And I was like, I don't want to. I said, but it's just popcorn. And sure enough, it was popcorn vomit, which is kind of disgusting, but you know what I mean. It wasn't that bad. There's worse things to throw up. But popcorn vomit, it was fine. And then I went right to bed, and I felt fine the rest of the day. But, but that one time at the beach when I was 16 years old, constantly vomiting, that was terrible. Okay, boy, that's going to... Oh, here's another one. Here's thanks to my iron stomach. This happened years later. I can't remember how old I was, probably late 20s. I, successfully over the past, let's say I was, 10 years. It happened 10 years later, let's say. I had not thrown up. And this was the strongest case that I was about to throw up. That was the strongest case because I had food poisoning. We all did. My grandmother had cooked some pork roast or something, and she had left it out. The pork had spoiled. We didn't know. We ate it. It was bad meat. It was bad meat. My mom tried to convince us all that it was just a flu. But no, it was bad. I mean, I went to bed. I turned to my brother and went, something wasn't right about that meal. That's what I told him. I said, something wasn't right about that meal. He went, what do you mean? I went, I don't know, but I feel weird. I said, do you feel bad? He went, no. I went, something just wasn't right. And I knew. I was like, I mean, I feel funny. Middle of the night, I wake up. Everyone in the house is throwing up. Boy, I told you I'd try to make away from gross stories here. Screw it. This is why it's the worst, right? Number 3 here. Everyone's throwing up. And, I mean, I remember I pooped, and it was like black. I mean, I don't know what we had, but it was just nasty. It was nasty all the way around. And I wanted to throw up. I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. I am not going to throw up. And I promised myself I wouldn't throw up, so I did not. I stuck with it. I got better. I don't know what happened. I got better before anyone else. They kept throwing up throughout the entire day. My mom kept saying, oh, it's just a stomach bug. It's just a stomach bug. No, Mom, it's food poisoning. Because the only person who wasn't sick was my little nephew, my first nephew we had. He was 3 years old, and me and him just hung out all day while people threw up. The sound of throw up going everywhere, people lining up for the bathroom, people going into the sinks. Seriously, it was just constant wake up, throw up, go back to bed. Wake up, throw up. And that evening, everyone came back. And the next day, everyone was fine. And my mom was like, wow, that's like a 24-hour bug. No, it wasn't, Mom. Your mother did food poisoning. Come on, it's not that hard a stretch there. But I remember that was a bad one. But I did have some fun times. Because I remember my little nephew, he was 3 years old. He kept going, uh-oh, uh-oh. Every time someone throw up, he'd look at me and go, uh-oh. I went, uh-oh, buddy, uh-oh. My sister-in-law came out, she went, can you watch him today? And I went, yeah, sure. But I had a steel stomach. I didn't eat much either. I ate very lightly, like ginger ale and bread. I went very easy on my stomach. I was kind of queasy, but we went out. I remember we went for walks. Me and the little dude kind of hung out all day. That was kind of good, but the constant vomiting, not good. All right, number 2, I'm getting away from everything, but this was kind of more annoying than anything. We used to go on a summer trip. Every year, that summer camp thing. One year we went on a trip with you had to have a a parent had to drive everyone there. So they were the parent that was in charge of all the kids. And this guy took it like Paul Blart Mall Cop. He took his job seriously. And he was just so annoying. He had to have a pre-talk to us before we even left. Like a few days before. Then he gave us the same speech again before we got in the car. Then the whole time he kept giving us speeches and rules, and when we got to the summer camp, we had to meet with him every night so he could keep going over rules. Because he thought, well, I'm still the guardian here, so I got to keep it. No, dude. And I remember the next year I was like, is he in charge? Because if so, I'm flying. And I flew. I did. I said, I'll see you guys there. I paid for my own ticket too. My dad's like, I'm not paying for your ticket. I said, I'm paying for it. I'm not going there. But that guy was just so annoying. I remember my brother got in trouble because he was like, hey, you need to hustle, is what he told my brother. So my brother stopped jogging. He said, no, I mean run. Like we're behind schedule. So he's asking my brother to run, who's already kind of jogging. So my brother stopped jogging and then started walking. Like, dude, screw you. And then, Bill, this guy, his name is Bill. Mr. Bill called my dad, said, your son is being very disobedient. He's being disruptive, and he's throwing us off our schedule. And so my brother got in trouble for that and had to apologize to the adult. And it was just he was so ridiculous. He was so ridiculous. I called him the Ridiculous. That was his nickname for me. I said, you mean the Ridiculous? Yeah. And then when they said, why aren't you driving with us this year? I went, because the Ridiculous is still your chauffeur. So no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to drive with the Ridiculous anymore. And I didn't, he's like, oh, because he came up to me, Matt, we have a meeting I said, I'm not driving with y'all. I'm flying. Oh, well, you're invited to the meeting if you want. No, that's okay. You're not a guardian over me. I get to fly. So yeah, flew there. But that trip with him was awful. Now, looking at the time here, I realize I am 1 minute. So I have a choice here. I can go longer in the podcast, which I do not like because I don't like going long, or I can save number 1 for next week. How awful would that be to give you a top 4 and then give you my number 1 next week and then continue on with my best? But you know what? I think I'm going to do that. That's totally rotten of me, but there's 4 through 2 there. And I want you right now to, in the comments here, what are your 5, terrible. Okay, you probably have way better than me. I mean, 3 of mine were being sick, right? She's like, Matt, you have nothing on me. And I probably don't. Like, oh, boo-hoo, that this guy was so hard on you to drive you up to camp, and he acted like a total jackass the whole time. Boo-hoo-hoo. Here's my awful trips. Okay, well, go ahead, because I've been really blessed to have some good trips. So I was thinking about my top 5 worst. To be honest, I have no honorable mentions to talk about either. But my number 1 is a doozy, and I will talk about it next week on Saturday morning solo Samoflange.